This video is brought to you by SKILLSHARE. We're almost to the Rise of Skywalker, and I wanted to talk about 5 things that could show up in the film that would make it the best Star Wars movie ever made. We do it for the fans. What's up, everybody? It's Josh. Welcome back to the channel. Do me a favor, chop like and buckle in. This is going to be a lengthy video, but I guarantee you'll have a good time watching this. And at this point, we all know many Star Wars fans have very strong opinions about Disney's Star Wars trilogy, or the sequel trilogy as it is called. And maybe you didn't realize this, but there are people that actually have strong opinions about Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker, even though it hasn't even come out. I've heard people saying it's a dumpster fire and is going to be worse than The Last Jedi, and I've heard people saying that it's going to be amazing, the best of this trilogy, and perhaps even enough to save this trilogy or to elevate it to a really high level. But I'm here to talk about 5 things that could be in the film that would literally make it the best Star Wars movie ever made. Or at least not terrible. Let's get into this. The number 5 thing that could be in this movie to make it the best Star Wars movie of all time would be if it had the greatest Sheev Palpatine performance out of any of the movies. Palpatine is one of the greatest villains in the history of fantasy storytelling, and he's an absolute fan favorite when it comes to Star Wars. Everybody loves Palpatine. The Emperor is so dark, so amazing, and we're all pretty glad that he's back. We're all really curious. What are we going to be getting out of Palpatine in this movie? And I think many people are looking for something pretty great out of this character, at least something that does him justice and doesn't, tarnish his character that has been so good in the previous movies. But what if we actually got the best version of Sheev that we've ever had? I mean, honestly, if they pull that off, that will be a massive feather in the cap for the Rise of Skywalker, and there's a couple of different ways they could do it. I mean, what if Palpatine is darker than he's ever been, more cunning than he's ever been, more manipulative than he has ever been, and just frankly, more scary than he's ever been? I mean, we've heard things about what he might look like at different parts of the movie, the things he might do, the things he might say, because let's be honest, Sheev Palpatine lines are some of the greatest lines in the history of Star Wars. And if we got literally the best versions of all of those little things that we love about Palpatine, man, this might just be my go-to Star Wars movie to check out of all of the other films. I'm being 100% serious. This will all come down to the performance and the contents of what he is saying and what he is doing in this film. But I mean, as far as the performance goes, it's Ian McDiarmid. He absolutely owns this role. We're all looking forward to seeing what the Senate has to say in this movie.
I am the Senate.
The number 4 thing that could be in this movie to make it the best Star Wars movie of all time would be if it had the best lightsaber fights out of any of the other films. Now, the lack of lightsabers in the sequel trilogy has led to a lack of great lightsaber battles in the 2 installments that we have so far in this trilogy. However, it is possible that we will get not 1, not 2, but many lightsaber fights in this film, and they could add up to being some of the best lightsaber fights that we've ever seen. I mean, frankly, at this point, Kylo Ren and Rey are both at the height of their powers, and as far as actors are concerned, they've been fighting with these sabers now for years and years, and they're literally better than they've ever been, and hopefully that translates into the fights that we see in this film. So there's potential to have not just one, but multiple fights between Kylo Ren and Rey, which would be incredible, and hopefully they're better than anything we've seen so far in the sequel trilogy. We also have the Knights of Ren, these dark side force-using mercenary type people that follow Kylo Ren. We don't know a lot about them, but they do appear to have close combat weapons, and if they are the students of Luke Skywalker, they're probably capable in fighting against other people that have lightsabers. And hopefully we get to see them fighting and with different people that have lightsabers, either Kylo Ren, Rey, both of them, some other people, maybe Finn uses a lightsaber again. But man, if we get the Knights of Ren fighting against some of these people, it could make for one of the best lightsaber fights we've ever seen. We've also got the Sith troopers who look to have some weaponry that can combat against lightsabers, and hopefully they're way more capable than the other stormtroopers we've had before. And wow, wouldn't it be amazing just watching Rey cut through a bunch of these Sith troopers that are using weapons to fight her in the lightsaber sense? Imagine the throne room scene from The Last Jedi, which is dope, but dialed up to 11. That would be amazing. There's also a dark horse in all of that, and that would be Darth Rey, or as I call her, Darth Bay. And there's some rumors that Dark Rey might be doing a lightsaber fight of her own in this film, and man, if it's dope, then it's dope, right? And if we literally had some of the best lightsaber fights that we've ever gotten in all of the movies, and if there's an abundance of them, this is, again, going to be a film that I reach for first when I'm trying to watch my Star Wars. And now I want to stop for a second and talk about the sponsor of this video, SKILLSHARE. You've heard of SKILLSHARE. It is an online community with thousands of classes, including courses about design, marketing, video editing, writing, and all sorts of other things like that. If you get a premium membership, you'll get unlimited access, and you can tailor a series of things that you want to study for wherever your goals might be. And I know many viewers of this channel, supporters of what I am doing, I know many of you guys want to start your own YouTube channels or want to grow your personal brands out there online. And I'm telling you right now, SKILLSHARE has a plethora of courses and classes that will help you get the skills to further your goals. And whether you're bound and determined through hell or high water to create your own personal brand and grow your personal YouTube channel, or you're just curious about what content creators do or learning some new skills, SKILLSHARE is the place for you. I'm going to recommend right off the bat How to Make Modern YouTube Videos on a Budget by Brandon Waters. That was a great video that I watched. It echoes a lot of the things that I've learned about YouTube. I'd recommend checking that out, but honestly, there are videos out there teaching you everything you need to know about making YouTube videos, getting better at writing, editing, all those sorts of things, and growing your personal brand and presenting yourself to an audience. And you don't have to go into massive college debt or pay huge amounts of money for online courses to get this knowledge. A premium membership of SKILLSHARE is literally less than $10 a month. And for fans of this channel, SKILLSHARE is making an incredible offer as the sponsor of this video. If you sign up for SKILLSHARE using the link in the description below, you will get 2 months free of premium access. Sign up for SKILLSHARE today. Do it. Now let's talk about the number 3 thing that could be in The Rise of Skywalker to make it the best Star Wars movie of all time, and that would be new context for the Chosen One prophecy and Anakin Skywalker. If we get an explanation for not only Anakin, but the prophecy itself that recontextualizes the other films, that would be huge. I mean, bottom line here, there's a lot of questions about Anakin and about the prophecy. There's not a lot of answers given to us in canon, and if we're really wrapping up the Skywalker saga, why wouldn't they fill out more of an explanation for what was going on with Anakin and what was going on with the prophecy? Maybe Anakin was created by Palpatine, which was something that was in one of George Lucas's scripts, but it's never been officially confirmed. Maybe the Senate himself explains that, yes, he did create Anakin, and maybe that furthers the manipulation, the hatred we have for Palpatine, and continue to make us feel bad for Anakin. And what's more, what if we find out that the prophecy was a lie, either created by ancient Sith, or it's not even an ancient prophecy, and it was something created by Palpatine, and he literally tricked all the Jedi into believing that it was a thing? There are ways that they could contextualize not only the Force birth of Anakin, but the Chosen One prophecy to give us just a whole new meaning and a different way to look at the rest of the films. And something like this, combined with an amazing performance by Palpatine, could really solidify this as literally the greatest Star Wars movie ever. The number 2 thing that could be in this film to make it the best Star Wars movie ever would be a bunch of backstory and lore about the Force, the Sith, and the Jedi. The Force is the space magic that holds all of these films together. It's an amazing thing. I mean, I think it's literally one of the best things ever designed in fantasy. It's amazing, but we still don't have all the answers when it comes to the Force. And I'm not saying we need all of the answers, but if we got some new pieces of information further explaining what the Force is, how it relates to people that are, born strong with the Force and just normal people, that would be amazing. We've already got some of that in this trilogy when it comes to like darkness rising and the light to meet it, but really, if they fill out that explanation and further explain what Palpatine knows about the Force, the dark side, and the Sith, that could be awesome. And when it comes to the Sith, Palpatine could also fill out backstory for what the Sith think of the Force, think of the Jedi, things that the Sith wanted to do, things that could set up the future of Star Wars. Whether we go back and talk about the Old Republic or we go way into the future, there's a way that things within this movie could explain the Sith and give context that just makes things cooler in the future. And the same thing could happen for the Jedi. What if Luke and Leia are explaining more about the Force when it comes to the Jedi? What happened to Ben Solo? What happened to Luke? All of these different things, and talking more about the Force and giving us more lore. I am a lore junkie. I think most Star Wars fans love the lore of Star Wars. We love learning about the ancient stuff, how it all ties together. And if we get more of those juicy morsels in this movie, again, it could be my go-to film when it comes to watching my Star Wars. Oh, and if this lore is really wild, but Disney backs it up by talking about how this was given to them by George Lucas and George came on and helped to fill this lore out, I don't really think that Star Wars fans could complain about that. And again, that would be a huge feather in the cap for Episode 9. And the number one thing that could be in this film that would make it the best Star Wars movie of all time is if it had a relentless sense of adventure and it truly felt like a deserved ending to the Skywalker saga. And I know what you're thinking, like that's what they're marketing it as, right? The end of the Skywalker saga. But to me, that is an incredibly difficult thing to actually accomplish. And I'll be real, I don't even know necessarily how they can accomplish all of that in one movie, particularly because they still have to close out the arcs and stories of the characters just within this trilogy. But if they somehow find a way to satisfy that ending and make this film really feel just like an amazing adventure that tickles all the nostalgia that we feel for all these other movies, gives us all the member berries, tons of fan service, and ultimately does feel like a deserved ending to the Skywalker saga, then I'll have to stand back, applaud, give all the credit in the world to Disney, JJ, Kathy, and everybody involved. And even though I think this would be really hard to accomplish, and it's actually one of my big fears about how the movie could fall short if they nail it, I can't help but think that would leave this film in the place of being possibly the best Star Wars movie ever. But that's gonna do it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it, even if you're like, crapping on the sequel trilogy and you have no hope for Episode 9. I hope this video at the very least entertained you, and hey, maybe you think that this could be the best Star Wars movie of all time and you agree with some of the things I brought up. Either way, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And now let's shout out Vincent Nguyen. Indeed, it was the Guavian Death Gang and Kanja Club that Han Solo owed money to in The Force Awakens. So shout out to you, Vincent. And now let's check the nerd card before we get out of here. I want to know, what is the name of the very first spaceship we ever see on screen in a Star Wars movie? Let me know the answer in the comment section below. As I always say, I hope you're having an awesome and a nerdy day, and I'll see you in the next video.